WJR.
How big is the food shortage around here in southeast Michigan? And I guess that's one way of putting it. How big is the food shortage? I guess the other way to ask that question is, how big is the hunger problem in southeast Michigan? How big is the people going to bed at night with an empty stomach problem in the state of Michigan?
I think your listeners will be absolutely shocked to hear the numbers. In our Tri-County area, 204,000 children alone live below the poverty line. When you add in the seniors, the working poor, that number swells to over 800,000 who really don't know where their next meal is coming from. They're considered food insecure by the government.
Can you imagine being considered food insecure in 2008 when I can go downstairs in the little shop, pick up my newspaper and anything I want to eat like that without even thinking about it, and right across from there in the lobby is a pizza kitchen, and across the street is another place. The things that I take for granted, the times I don't eat, it's because I don't have time. Some people don't have the food, and we don't even think in those terms. We've never been in that position of real hunger with real fear attached to it, that even though we're really hungry, we don't have an answer or an automatic way to be sure we're going to get food. And being a parent and watching your children go through this, well, I can promise you it would drive me to crime. It would drive me to steal from a store or to rob a bank. And that's a fact, because if my children are starving, they're going to eat no matter what. So you can see the ramifications of our foolishness, and I'm embarrassed to repeat it, that we throw away 96 billion pounds of food every year, and merely 5% of that being rescued, being captured, being used, could do away with hunger throughout the entire United States of America. This is our first step toward trying to help with Susan Goodell, Executive Director, Forgotten Harvest, and DeWayne Wells, President, Gleaners Community Food Bank for Southeast Michigan. And, of course, David Boyle is President, Michigan Northwest Ohio Banking, National City Corporation based in Cleveland, Ohio, to bring this to your attention. This is our effort on WJR.com to countrywide and worldwide point out this problem and try to get you moving in your community to do something about it. Because when it comes down to it, David, it's pretty doggone simple. We're not asking for people to dig down and write a check for $1,000.
Right. And you know, Paul, I don't think people truly understand the magnitude of what we're trying to get done here until you've actually seen it. Most of the schools in Michigan have a community service requirement as part of their graduation requirements. My son, for instance, last year graduated, went to Gleaners, and this was the basketball program. The basketball coach said the whole team's going to go and give back to the community. So the basketball team went to Gleaners and took bulk food and packaged it into smaller containers for distribution. My son came home a different kid. Mm-hmm. He really did. And you know, I'm like you, Paul. I can go downstairs and get a donut or a bagel or lunch or whatever, and I'm not worried about where my next meal's coming from. But boy, I did as a kid, and my father, we were in that situation when I was a young man. My dad's unemployed, you know, using the government programs to provide food. I've been there, and it is a very uncomfortable place to be. So until you really experience it, I don't think you have an appreciation for the magnitude of the problem. And I think once you've experienced it, your willingness to step up and do something goes off the charts. And that's really what I'm hoping to get out of this, is awareness for both of these organizations, and then help. Not even financial help. That's needed. Everybody needs money right now. But these two organizations need people. They need people to come out and help. And once they've helped, they're really hooked. You're hooked. You can't help but go back and do it again and again. And then you will find resources to help, whether it's cans in the cupboard that you're not using, or a few dollars. If $1 can buy 6 meals, I can't feed my family of 6 for $1. It's $40 or $50 to feed my family of 6, and think about that. That is impactful.
It is, and people are what we need. And in fact, I'll ask both DeWayne Wells and Susan Goodell about how they distribute the food to people. It takes people to distribute food to people, no doubt about it. Who some of the partner organizations might be. What kind of people are coming to you for help? I'm sure that they're not just unemployed or laid off people. There are even employed people who are coming to you and need help. Let's start with you, DeWayne, from Gleaners.
Absolutely. I think the people that are coming to our partner agencies for help are a very wide-ranging group of people. Some are your chronically poor, but some are just their current situation, whether it's dealing with a mortgage that's in foreclosure, or the higher gas or utility bills, or seniors struggling to try to pay their health care premiums and buy their medicines. Those situations really cause a lot of people to need to rely on an emergency food provider for hopefully a short-term period of time until they can get themselves situated. And so we see lots of people that are coming in for the very first time. In fact, at our Livingston County food pantry, we have had a number of people over the past year that have said, last year I was a financial donor to the food pantry, or last year I did a food drive. This year, because of my situation, I'm needing to rely on this pantry for food for me and my family.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And your partner organizations, any that you want to mention? That
well, we partner with about 420 partner agencies across the region, from very large organizations like the Salvation Army, the Cabbage and Soup Kitchen, to smaller community or faith-based organizations that are residential programs. So it's a wide range of agencies covering our 5-county service area.
All right, and for you, Susan, from Forgotten Harvest?
Well, I want to applaud Dave for having the courage to share with us his childhood experience. I think that there are so many people in this country that have that experience, whether it's me, Dave, or many others that we all know. And it's an issue of shame that people don't want to tell their story. They don't want to admit that they're not able to feed themselves or their children. We're seeing for the first time in our 18-year history the growth area in this region is actually the outer edges of the counties. And it's because people who had jobs before don't have jobs today. Right. I think we've all expected to see the need in Pontiac and Detroit, but for the first time, we're seeing it out on the outer edges of Wayne and Oakland and Macomb. And that's a scary thing.
It is, because, frankly, it's those edges that were the contributors for so long. The same people showing up for the various fundraisers, I know, because I'd be there and I'd see them. And you'd look around and say, well, these are the same faces. Well, some of those faces are dropping out now. They can't afford to put forward the big dollars for the tickets to support these various charities. And as you point out, they're showing up in need themselves. Let me get to a point where we can understand best how other corporations, other companies can help. We know how the good folks here at National City Corporation, under the guidance of David Boyle and his team, are helping by getting the word out here on WJR.com. How can other companies and corporations help? Do, in fact, companies and corporations maybe lend you 100 people from their office one day and call it Forgotten Harvest Day or Gleaners Community Food Bank Day, so that the employees together get that community spirit and great feeling that you get when you help someone, and in fact help them not just by giving a check that's always appreciated, but when you give someone food and you see how they react when they haven't had food, you'll never forget it. I know.